So how are you, everybody? And this is Doaa Darwish. I am the head of the development of material in trainersbox.net. I have been in the coaching industry proudly for around 15 years. Project management professional, certified corporate trainer, and certified business professional. It's been my honor, and like I take pride in serving coaches and trainers in providing them specifically training material and services that will definitely boost and their service and definitely help them save time and effort on preparing value material. So today our presentation is all about the games, and well, basically, like the games that you can use in your presentation. Why would you want to use games in your presentation? What kind of games do you want to use? How can you make sure that the games will be a success? I get all sorts of questions from people, everybody all around the world about this. Using the games. And basically, out of I mean, me on a personal level, while using games and while I interact with other coaches, asking them how it turned out with them, the main thing that we face, the main challenge that we face, would be, you know, going into your session, not finding a responsive audience, or maybe you're speaking to a crowd of analysts. Or maybe you're not in the right mood today to, you know, like really be engaged and focused on the topic that you want to talk about. So maybe there are other challenges too. Like maybe you're sitting with a group who like are really not, you know, in harmony with each other. Especially they can be a group of people working in the same corporate with, you know, with interaction issues, with team building issues. And it's really very interesting how you can turn on these people when they're coming there and like maybe doubting whether they're going to be leaving your session with something to go back to their offices with. So if you just start your topic and start giving them information, giving them steps on how to improve their skills, giving them practices, it may just not work. If you use games on the way and even to start your coaching and throughout your coaching, it may, I mean, when you do this, you will be surprised by how it may work wonders with you. So using games and like the benefits of play to adults, there are multiple benefits, including relieving the stress these guys are coming to you with. It relieves your stress personally on a personal level. There are a lot of researches on how to improve the games, improve the brain memory. So whenever you use games and you're trying to pass on a piece of information that's really important, if you use a game, if you merge that with a game, it will definitely improve their memory, to how far they will be able to use this information, utilize this piece of information that you give them. Using games and play in your room will help people to connect, because I mean, you just divide them into groups and they will have to connect away from the away from the corporate context, away from the competition context. It's just the game. It's they're playing together. It doesn't have to be there are no real ways where they can be in danger or feel not safe while playing, basically. So it does improve the ability of people to connect to each other. It actually improves the employee interrelationships, and you'll be very surprised about how people who come to your room and who had issues as employees can leave your training after like 3 or 4 days being well connected, and you will find feedback from their departments and from the people who are supervising them on that, because they were just able to discover more about each other and they'd find a lot of common ground they never knew about before they literally played these games where they improved their skills together. So it does improve the employee relationship, and for any corporate and for any HR manager or training manager, this is a big thing. They want to improve the employee relationships, and they want to send these people to your class, and they want them to leave your class with better relationships. So it's something that you want to think about. Really, it's interesting, and it keeps people engaged and energetic all of the time. No matter how important the information you're telling them, their spans of concentration, especially with this digital era, is getting smaller and shorter and shorter. So when you use games, it does keep them engaged, it does keep them energetic. And last but not least, and I'm sure there are a lot of more benefits to playing games with adults, it doesn't boost the creativity and the innovation in the room, because it just takes them away after, mentioning all of the other points, taking away the stress, taking away the negativity, improving connection. It automatically, creativity jumps and innovation automatically improves in the room. So playing games is such a big deal. Let me just show you an example of how games can rewire your participants' mind. You will help them have fun while they're learning. And let me just walk you through a few games that we are using here. Like, this is a mixture of leadership games, team building games, time management games, and communication games. We have a ton here, but I'm just going to give you a sample of like what games look like, how they can be used with your training. So this is an example of a game that's called Treasure Hunt. This is a leadership game. So this game is like 20 minutes. Objective is step-by-step game. This step-by-step game will help the trainers and leaders to identify the most important core values. And tell me about core values. People do clash together when they don't understand each other's core values, or when they attack each other's core values. So that's a big red line. Teams should know. Team members should know. So to identify the most important core values for the team they're working with, so as to be able to maintain focus and collaborate effectively as a team. So have a look at this game. First thing, you make a copy of page 2. This is page 2, basically. And when you look at page 2, you'll find a lot of core values here. For example, to be able to make decisions and act on them, to love my work, to help others, to enjoy anything I do, to feel inner peace, to secure my family financially, and a lot of other core values that people may be having and not sharing explicitly with their peers or with their even bosses. So these are this is like a list of core values that you're handing out to everybody in your room. And this game goes like this. So you give a copy of this page. Can you clarify for them that it has a list of core values, and their objective for this game is to put out their hands on the one, like they need to mark the ones that they treasure the most. And as individuals and as a team, bring their attention that 3 cells are left blank just in case they wish to add any of their own. So basically, you'll give them another 3 blank cells just in case you missed their core value, which is a very important point. And then you ask your trainees to select the most important 10 core values. Ask them to cross the rest out. And then you ask them to filter the most 5, and then just reduce them to 3. So they may, even on a personal level, they may be aware of their core values, but they're not aware of which are the really most important ones. You're helping them get there now. So these are the things at their very core. They will cross out 2 off your list and put the circles around the 3 basic most important core values. Now, at the back side of the sheet, your trainees will define. That's another thing. They will define what does each core value mean to them in simple 1 or 2 lines. So, for example, being productive. For me, being productive means it means feeling good about what I have accomplished at the end of the day. So it's all about a feeling here. Or like financial wealth. It could be like, it's important to me to make enough money to provide me with the things that I need and want, and to set some funds aside for big purchases, traveling, and retirement. Somebody else may just define financial wealth as like, I want to make $1 billion. I mean, it's different for everybody. So you need them to exactly define what they're saying, because like they're going to be sharing this with their team members in a bit. Then you want to ask them to connect their values together by binding the definitions of each core value so that they can have like a meaning out of what they're highlighting in their life. So if they feel that they need to go back and reevaluate their values, or may want to rework some of the sentences to create what is more meaningful to them, that would still be okay. Because you want to get to the real deal here. You want to know what's the real thing inside them. So the point is that they come up with a precise paragraph with their innermost thoughts of what they care most about in their lives. This is big. And ask them to give this paragraph as my personal core values. Then they'll keep a copy of this. And it's like, this is the treasure. That's why the game's name is called Treasure Hunt. That was finally found, and they will be able to revisit it in the future and modify if necessary. Then they go back to the 3 most important core values for each participant and take a vote for each one. Now, see how this game really progresses. First of all, you help them find their core values and understand themselves. What do they mean by defining the most important ones? And then you share the core values with everybody so you'd know what are the most common core values for the team. Wow. You, if you're a boss, if you're a team member, you would know like where these guys are going. You would not want to clash with any of the team's core values. And on the other side, you would know that this core value, which has the highest score, would be the easiest thing to use to motivate the entire team and to help them interact and collaborate well. So you will go back and you will ask people to give scores for the core values and make votes so that each core value has a score. And then you sort the scores in descending order and highlight the 3 most important core values to the team. The 3 most important core values for the entire team. So that's the team's core values. And then you make sure these 3 are circulated through email, for example, for reference, or you can put them in the rooms, or you can put them on their desks. Be creative. And then you put these values in the training meeting room and explain to the team that they will be their point of reference whenever they conflict, or ever any conflict occurs. So see, as simple as this game is, for example, it'll help you in leading others. And this game is not just a leadership game, by the way, it's leadership and it's a team building game. So see how simple the idea is and how interesting people begin to discover things about themselves, their teammates, their peers, and maybe their subordinates, their bosses, and they can actually go back to their offices with something to share that would reduce conflict and would increase team building and help leaders to be more effective. This is an example of one of the games. The other game, for example, here I want to show you as an example would be, for example, this one. It's 100 Meanings. This game is a communication game. And if you have a look at this game, it's as simple as this. It'll allow your participants to be aware of different meanings, their nonverbal communication. And nonverbal communication is 55% of conveying a message, so it's a big deal. So it'll make them aware of their nonverbal communication and what annotations can convey. You ask the participants to sit in a circle. You explain that this activity will explore in many ways what a single message can, convey. And then you start with the ball, and you choose a simple phrase from the set of phrases that you have on page 2. Now, just jumping to page 2, these are the phrases. Good morning. Is this yours? Maybe. Are you okay? Or see ya. So you have these on a whiteboard. You will write these phrases on a whiteboard or on a flip chart. And then each person will read aloud one of the phrases and try to communicate it by choosing any of the tones on page 2. So for example, say good morning. So somebody chooses good morning, and the first person starts in the circle, and this person goes like this, good morning, and then the rest of the group, you'll ask them, what do you think does this tone of voice suggest? And they'll go maybe enthusiastic, and then the other person will get the ball. The first person will toss the person to the other person. The other guy goes, good morning, and then you can ask the team, what do you think? And somebody will say angry, and then the third person will get the ball, and they'll go, good morning, and then they'll most probably say passionate or warm, and so on. And this can really, when people start using different tones of voice, this can really be funny in ways, and it can make people realize how changing the tone of voice will actually give different feelings and different messages, because they may never have noticed it before. Look at the word maybe, for example. If somebody goes like maybe, that's a sure sign of it. Or like maybe, or like maybe, you can play around with this and you can add more phrases, but these are okay. You can use these are good. So people will start engaging and become attentive to how your tone of voice can really throw different messages at the receiver. And then after they toss the ball from person to person, you will pause and ask the group what they think was the message here. And you keep going like for 10 minutes and then announce before you finish that this will be the last phrase for the game. You call time and then applaud your participants. And you start a discussion. And like most of the games we have here are about discussions. You want to see the reflections on what was happening in the game to make them start thinking about what went on. You can ask them, did you intend to use a particular tone and were misunderstood by all your audience? Because somebody can mean something and have people understand them totally in a different way, and that would be something that would grab their attention. Hey, I'm not giving the right body language. I need to exercise that. I need to work on that. Did you misunderstand any of the participants' body language? If everybody did, then why? That would be a point of interest. So, or do you think your mood and state of mind can influence your ability to send clear messages or understand them? And that's a big debate that you can start with your group and get them engaged and thinking about what the messages behind the words can be. So yeah, this is like the nice thing here. We also always have the materials needed mentioned, so you'd know what you need to bring in beforehand. And that's like another example of a simple game that you can use with your group to make them have fun, engage, and connect, and still improve their skills in the same time. A third one I'd want to show you too here is seasons. It's this is a time management game. This is an example of a time management game. And in time management, for people who have already purchased the presentation kit, one of the points that you need to work on is to declutter. Basically, you got to declutter everything in your space, whether it was work or home. The objective of this game is as simple as this. It'll help your trainees organize their workspace, which will in turn help them manage their time and eliminate waste. Some people, you will realize when you're dealing with your trainees, oh yes, they'd love to declutter. They will promise you they will declutter, and they will think they will, but they actually have no idea how this will happen. They think they need somebody to help them visualize how they will declutter at a point and when. So for example, in this game, one day before this game, you will ask your trainees to draw a floor plan of their offices, just the way it is right now. And you will ask them to try to keep the scale relatively the same. But it doesn't have to be exactly perfect, super architecturally perfect drawing or anything. It's just it's like a simple drawing as much as they could. And you're going to ask your trainees to bring their drawings into the training as well as a pair of scissors. And then you'll ask them to redesign their workspace to be decluttered, to be clutter-free, where they would need to put away the things which mess up their offices. You will tell your trainees that the cleaning and organizing season for the office has come, and what they are about to do virtually will get them warmed up to reorganize their offices when they get back to them. You will hand them a blank sheet and then a piece of sticky tack, and put a box with 3 to 5 different colored markers for every 3 to 5 trainees sitting next to each other. You will ask your trainees to draw an outer wall, the doors, the windows, any permanent furnishings of the rearranged office, and make a printout of the pictures on the next 3 pages. Now, here are examples of things that you can give them to help them, visualize, like a desk, a cabinet, a filing cabinet, files, PC, phone, calendar, mouse, scanner, a lot of things. Of course, like they can add to these, but these are just examples to make it look real, you know what I'm saying? So they will make cutouts of these things, and then they will rearrange them. They make printouts and then cutouts, and then they will rearrange them. You can add other items, and then you'll ask them to add them to this blank background that they already had, and you'll give them 10 minutes. And each participant will be able to compare both drawings in less than like 60 seconds to the whole group. The old offices virtual versus their new virtual well-organized offices. If the number of trainees is more than 10, you can choose, of course, volunteers just to keep control on time. And then this will really help them, take decluttering one step closer to becoming a reality. You'll applaud your trainees, applaud them, and then ask them, and then thank them for creativity. Here are the stuff that you need for this game. It's an awesome game. It helps them, get one step closer to managing their time. And this is an example of a time management game. One last game I'd like to show you around is basically this one. It's called Toolbox Bravado. And this is another team building game. It's a very interesting game, a fun game that will help your team members become aware of and appreciate each other's roles. Team building skills are also used and improved. Let's see this very, very simple but very, very deep game. You will make a handout of the chart in page 2. Page 2 has a set of basic hand tools, like a back saw, hand saw, a claw hammer, screwdriver, punches, all of these things. Tape measure, interestingly. And then you will ask there are several rounds. You will give them this sheet, and then you will ask participants to take a minute or two to really think. You have to think first before they decide which of the carpentry tools they resemble the most. And then do the following. In the first round, ask each participant to circle the tool they mostly identify with. Just one, all right, just one tool. And then ask the participant to make notes about which of his team members resembles which tools, just to get an idea of how he sees others, how they see each other. And then number 3 now, in the second round, ask each participant to briefly explain, and here's the interesting and deep, very deep part, exactly explain what made him identify with the tool he chose. And then you start an open discussion with where people are allowed to share ideas. What does the person have in common with the tools they chose? Did people who came from the same background choose similar tools? Like what? And then you can discuss. So for example, if somebody chooses a hand saw, this may be like somebody who gets very angry very quickly, is sharp, is punctual, is decisive, is precise, and like you would know their core values just out of their, identifying with which tool. And that way, when people deal with this person, they will be careful, and they will know what kind of basic characteristic this person has, and they wouldn't want to mess with these things. and it'll help them in that way, understand each other and more. How could you connect the team members in the same way you can connect the tools? So, for example, hammers are good supervisors, and like the relationship between hammers and nails, for example. Who are hammers, who are nails? And are meters good analyzers? Are nails good executors? And then you'll see, for example, if somebody is a nail, identifies with a nail, and who bosses somebody who is a hammer, and you know something has to be wrong here. And then you'll see how you can take that to a deeper level of analysis. What would be the relationship between, for example, saws and hammers, if any relationship exists between both? And which participants chose them and why? So see, it's as simple as this, very simple games, which takes your trainees to a deep level of, like thinking. It'll help them in a way rewire the way they may be seeing themselves versus others in a fun and interesting and engaging way. So these were just examples of some games that we have. We have a ton here. We have communication skills games, team building games, train the trainer games, NLP and memory. And with NLP and memory, they will improve actually the neuroplasticity of the brain. And because they will, like the ones that we've seen, they have a little bit of, each and every game will have some, NLP about it, because it will change the way you are rewired, change the way you're looking at yourself versus change the way you're looking at others. And that's like basic when you're training people. Being aware of where you want to change and why. So anger management, relaxation games. Here we just have a couple, because most of the anger management and relaxation activities are exercises, because like these need to be done on maybe a daily or more than twice a week basis. So we've got a bunch of these in the exercises, and I'll be hosting a webinar on the exercises sometime in the first semester of this year. So yeah, I'll definitely be announcing that one. So back here, anger management games, creativity and dealing with change games, leadership games, time management games, customer service games, marketing and branding, performance enhancement. That's a new batch. This and the customer service are new batches. Project management games. Again, project management games, we've got a ton of templates. I'll be throwing another webinar in that one too, and a ton of exercises on them. Decision making and problem solving games. Sales and negotiation games, influencing and persuasion games. So we've got, like a total of 72 games on board now. Of course, the price is like, it's like an amazing price for that kind of, the kind of value and the kind of, retention that will come out of these games, the impression that people will be going back home with. I've used games, and I've had people sending to me photos after the training has finished. I remember particular games, which I think I'll remember forever, which like, we were laughing to tears in the games, and like there were I have some real good memories with my groups and the games, and I'm sure, if they sent to me an email after everybody has gone back to their offices with the photos while we were having the game, then they liked it, and it has left some kind of impression on them, and it will last. So this is like the games bundle that we have on board now. I strongly, recommend everybody to use games with their trainings. It will help them and the groups, feel safe, be okay with the training, and leave the training with a, like a positive vibe. Start the training with a positive vibe. At any point where the training starts to get boring, or where people start to resist or start to be detached, you just throw in a game, and everybody will be back on. So yeah, these are examples of the games, and the ones that I walked you through, these are the games themselves. I strongly recommend them, and I'll be offering a 15% discount on these games for the coming 48 hours, because we usually have special offers after we have our live webinars, just to make people have a look for themselves and, buy the things and see for themselves the kind of quality that they will be adding to their trainings. Just want to make sure whether we have any questions here before I wrap up. So if anybody has any questions, I'd love to actually unmute everybody if anybody wants to jump in with any questions, or like in the chat box if they want to send in any questions. I'll be more than happy to answer them. To get to our games page, go to www.trainersbox.net/games.html, or you just feel free to send to us an email on helpdesk@trainersbox.net. We'll be happy to answer. Good luck everybody with your trainings. Have fun. Make sure you have fun, and I hope you do the big influence that you're looking forward to with everybody that you are coaching or training. This is Doaa Darwish. See you in the next webinar, and have an awesome rest of the day. Have a great weekend too.